everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something that affects us all, whether directly or indirectly: vision loss.
That's right, vision loss.
We've been digging through mountains of research, medical journals, studies, expert opinions, even personal stories,
You name it.
all to give you guys the most fascinating and insightful deep dive into this surprisingly common health concern.
Yeah. It's something we all kind of think about abstractly, like,
Right.
oh, I don't want that to happen. But it's not something we really talk about or
Yeah.
understand that well.
And we were pretty shocked to learn that vision problems are actually one of the top 10 disabilities among adults
Oh, yeah.
and can affect kids too.
Absolutely. And, I think there's often this misconception that vision loss is just about not seeing clearly,
Right.
but it's way more nuanced than that.
Totally. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. We're
Well-
talking about everything from central vision loss, which makes it hard to see what's right in front of you, to peripheral vision loss,
Right.
affecting your side vision, and even general vision loss, where you might only be able to perceive like shadows.
Yeah, and that's a crucial point because the type of vision loss you're experiencing can really point to the underlying cause.
Right.
And that's going to obviously make a big difference in terms of treatment.
For sure. And speaking of causes, it's super important to make the distinction between vision loss that happens suddenly
Oh, yeah,
versus vision loss that happens gradually.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sudden vision loss, that's the one that can be incredibly alarming.
Yeah.
It usually signals a serious problem that needs immediate attention.
Yeah, you actually might be surprised to learn that something like migraines can cause temporary vision loss.
Right.
It can manifest in some pretty wild ways, like
Yeah.
zigzag lines, sparkles, even tunnel vision.
It's called an aura.
Yeah.
It's a migraine aura. And the interesting thing about them is that they can actually occur with or without a headache, which is kind of fascinating. They're usually temporary. They fade within an hour. But it can be, pretty freaky
Yeah.
if it happens to you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And migraines aren't the only thing that can cause sudden vision loss.
Right.
We also have things like keratitis, which is basically inflammation of the cornea, and conjunctivitis, more
Yeah.
commonly known as pink eye.
Yeah, those can be pretty alarming too.
Yeah.
But the good news is
Yeah.
usually pretty treatable and temporary.
Okay, that is good news. But I think it's important to emphasize that any sudden change in your vision really warrants a call to your doctor, right?
Absolutely.
Ah.
Like, don't wait and see.
Right.
Anytime you have a sudden change, that's a sign that something could be seriously wrong, and you want to get it checked out immediately.
Yeah, definitely better to err on the side of caution when it comes to your eye health.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's shift gears now and talk about the more gradual type of vision loss, which is unfortunately something that a lot of us might experience as we age.
Yeah, and one of the big ones, especially for folks over 50, is age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, as it's often called.
Right.
And that one affects the central part of your vision.
Okay.
Makes it difficult to do things like read or recognize faces.
And what's especially concerning about AMD is that it can actually get progressively worse over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's actually a leading cause of vision loss in older adults. And there's no cure. But there are treatments that can help slow the progression.
Okay. So then we also have glaucoma,
Yes.
which also tends to come with age.
Yeah. It's often called the silent thief of sight.
Right.
Because the damage can be quite advanced before you even notice any symptoms.
Yeah. And glaucoma affects the optic nerve,
Right.
which carries signals from your eye to your brain.
Exactly. And that damage often begins in your peripheral vision and progresses very, very gradually. So people often don't realize they have a problem until it's, pretty far along.
And what's especially scary about that is that if it's left untreated, glaucoma can actually lead to blindness, right?
Exactly, which is why those regular eye exams are so important, especially as we age.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about a condition that's particularly relevant to people with diabetes: diabetic retinopathy.
Yes, diabetic retinopathy affects the blood vessels in the back of the eye, and it can cause vision loss and even blindness if it's not treated.
It's pretty scary to think that something like diabetes, which is manageable,
Right.
can have such a profound impact on your vision.
Yeah, it is. But here's a point of hope. Studies have actually shown that 90% of diabetes-related blindness
Wow.
is actually preventable.
That is amazing. That's
Yeah.
a huge number. So what are some key steps that people with diabetes can take to protect their vision?
Well, first and foremost, managing those blood sugar levels is crucial. High blood sugar can really damage those delicate blood vessels in the eye. And then, of course, regular eye exams are essential for early detection and treatment.
Okay, so we've covered quite a few conditions that can affect vision, some sudden, some gradual. But before we get into coping mechanisms and prevention, I think it's worth taking a closer look at some of these conditions, how they actually affect your vision.
Absolutely. Yeah, the more you understand about how these conditions actually impact your sight, the better equipped you'll be to protect your eye health.
Okay, let's start with AMD since it's so common, especially in older adults. We mentioned that it affects central vision.
Right.
Can you kind of paint a picture for us? What does that actually look like for someone experiencing it?
Yeah, so imagine you're looking at a clock face. Someone with AMD might see the numbers around the edge of the clock clearly,
Mm.
but the hands in the center, those appear blurry or distorted.
Mm.
And that blurry area that's right in the center of their vision, and that can actually grow larger over time, making it more and more difficult to read, to recognize faces, even just to see details in front of them.
That sounds incredibly frustrating. And as you mentioned earlier, there's no cure for AMD, but there are treatments that can help slow its progression.
Exactly.
Mm.
And again, early detection is key. Those regular eye exams, they can make a world of difference.
Okay, speaking of early detection, glaucoma is another one where that's so important since it often doesn't present symptoms until it's pretty advanced.
Yeah, glaucoma is kind of like a slow leak in a tire. The pressure inside your eye builds up gradually,
Mm.
and it damages the optic nerve, which is basically the cable that transmits information from your eye to your brain.
Right.
So, just like a damaged cable can disrupt a signal, a damaged optic nerve can impair your vision.
And is that damage reversible or is that pretty much
Unfortunately, most of the time it's irreversible.
okay?
That's why catching it early treatment is so critical.
Right.
And treatment, often it involves eye drops that can help lower the pressure in the eye,
Okay.
and they can help prevent further damage and hopefully preserve your vision.
Okay, now let's switch gears to diabetic retinopathy.
Yes.
You mentioned that it affects the blood vessels in the back of the eye. Right. Can you explain how high blood sugar actually damages those vessels?
Yeah. So think of those tiny blood vessels in your retina as like delicate pipelines
Hmm.
that carry nutrients and oxygen to the eye. And when blood sugar levels are consistently high, it's like those pipelines are being exposed to like a corrosive material.
Hmm.
Over time, they can become weak, leaky, or even blocked completely.
And so that obviously affects the health of the retina.
Exactly. When the retina doesn't get the oxygen and the nutrients that it needs,
Right.
it can't function properly.
Mhm.
And this can lead to blurry vision, blind spots, and in really severe cases, even retinal detachment, which is a medical emergency.
Wow. And this is where that statistic you shared earlier,
Yeah.
90% of diabetes-related blindness is preventable.
Yeah,
That is powerful. That's a message everyone with diabetes needs to hear.
absolutely. Managing your blood sugar, regular checkups, following your doctor's recommendations, that can all make a huge difference in reducing the risk of vision loss.
It's such a reminder that taking care of your overall health, it really is crucial for protecting your vision as well.
I completely agree. And speaking of taking care of your health,
Yeah.
maybe we should move on to discussing some of the coping mechanisms and the resources that are available for folks who are experiencing vision loss.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Because, while we focused on the more serious conditions today, there are so many people living with varying degrees of vision loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
From mild to severe, what are some of the things that can help them adapt and kind of maintain their independence?
Well, there's a whole range of resources and assistive technologies available.
Mm.
For example, low vision aids, things like magnifiers and special lighting, can make a big difference for folks with low vision,
Right.
helping them to read or do their daily tasks a little bit easier.
And then for folks with more severe vision loss or blindness, I mean, there's technology like screen readers
It is.
that convert text to speech,
Absolutely.
which is amazing.
It is.
Allows them to access information, whether it's on their computers or smartphones.
Absolutely. And then there are mobility aids like canes and guide dogs,
Right.
which can help people navigate their environment safely and independently.
It's really incredible to see how technology and innovation have empowered people with vision loss to live full and active lives.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable what's possible.
Yeah.
And I think beyond those kind of tangible tools,
Yeah.
there's a whole network of support out there, both from organizations like the American Foundation for the Blind
Mm.
and also from personal support systems.
Can you talk a little bit more about the kinds of services and support the American Foundation for the Blind provides?
Yeah, they're an incredible resource. They offer everything from just basic information and referral services
Mm.
to support groups, assistive technology training. They even advocate for the rights of people with vision loss
Wow.
and work to create a more inclusive society.
It's so important to have that kind of advocacy and support,
Yeah,
especially when navigating those challenges.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think beyond those more formal support systems, don't underestimate the power of just connecting with other people who have had similar experiences.
Hmm.
Support groups, they can offer a sense of community
Hmm.
and shared understanding that can be so, so valuable.
We talk about the power of community a lot on this show, and it's so relevant in this context. I mean, just knowing that you're not alone can make
Yeah,
all the difference.
it really can. And so, while coping with vision loss can be incredibly challenging,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that there are resources, there are tools, there are support systems available to help people adapt and thrive.
Okay, so we've explored the causes of vision loss, delved into some of the specifics of these conditions, and we've talked about coping mechanisms and resources.
Right.
Now, I think it's time to shift our focus to something equally important: prevention.
Absolutely. While we can't entirely eliminate the risk of vision loss,
Right.
there's a lot we can do to significantly reduce the risk and protect our eye health.
Yeah, and you've already emphasized the importance of regular eye exams, especially as we get older, or if we have any underlying conditions like diabetes. But what are some other preventative measures that we can all take?
Well, I think one of the most important things is protecting your eyes from injury.
Hmm.
Always wear protective eyewear when you're doing activities that could potentially harm your eyes, like sports or certain types of work, even home repairs.
Yeah, that's such a simple precaution,
Yeah.
but often overlooked. What about, for those of us who spend hours staring at screens,
Right.
are there any tips to prevent eye strain and potential damage?
Yeah, well, we've talked about the 20-20-20 rule before.
Yeah.
And it's worth repeating. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break to look at something 20 feet away.
Mm.
This helps to relax the muscles in your eyes
Right.
and prevent strain. Also, make sure your workspace is well lit
Right.
and adjust your screen brightness to a comfortable level.
Those are really great practical tips that everyone can implement. What about diet and lifestyle?
Oh yeah, good point. There's a growing body of evidence that shows that healthy lifestyle can play a really significant role in maintaining good eye health.
Okay, so what does a vision-friendly diet actually look like?
Well, it's similar to what we generally consider a healthy diet.
Mm.
Lots of fruits and vegetables, particularly leafy greens like spinach and kale.
Right.
They're packed with antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin.
I've heard those can actually help protect against AMD.
They can. They act kind of like internal sunglasses, filtering out those harmful blue light rays and protecting those delicate cells in your macula.
Okay, so leafy greens are in. What else should we be loading up on?
Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids,
Right.
like
Right.
salmon, tuna, flax seeds. Those are also really beneficial for eye health.
So I'm sensing a theme here. What's good for your heart is good for your eyes.
You got it. And just as a healthy heart benefits from regular exercise,
Right.
so do your eyes.
I'm intrigued. What kind of exercise is good for your eyes?
Well, any activity that gets your blood pumping,
Right.
that improves circulation, is going to benefit your whole body, including your eyes.
So it's not necessarily about, like, eye exercises.
Not really, no.
Okay.
It's more about that overall fitness.
Got it.
And while we're talking about healthy habits, let's not forget avoiding smoking.
Ah, yes. Smoking, the villain of so many health stories.
It is.
How does smoking damage the eyes, specifically?
Well, it constricts blood vessels, which reduces blood flow to the eyes. And that can increase the risk of all sorts of nasty conditions like AMD, cataracts, and even optic nerve damage.
Another great reason to quit.
Absolutely.
Or better yet, never start.
Yeah. And, just as important as what we put into our bodies is what we put on them. When it comes to sunglasses, choose ones that offer 100% protection from UVA and UVB rays.
So not just any old pair of shades will do.
Right. You really want those high-quality lenses that are going to block those harmful rays.
Protecting your eyes from the sun, that's a big one.
It is. It's essential for preventing long-term damage, especially things like cataracts and macular degeneration.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here in terms of prevention. Regular eye exams, protecting your eyes from injury, following the 20-20-20 rule, eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, avoiding smoking, and wearing protective sunglasses.
It's a lot to take in,
It's a holistic approach, really.
It is. And it's a good reminder that taking care of your vision is an ongoing process.
Right.
Not just something you think about when there's a problem.
It's about incorporating those healthy habits into your daily life
Yes.
and making eye health a priority.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into vision loss,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, which is the emotional impact of vision loss.
Yeah, that's such an important aspect.
It is.
And one that we haven't fully explored yet.
It's not just about the physical changes to your vision. It's also about how those changes affect a person's life, their relationships, their sense of self.
Vision loss can be a very isolating experience, I imagine. I mean, everyday tasks that were once effortless
Right.
become challenging or even impossible.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's understandable that people might feel frustrated, helpless, even depressed.
It can be a real emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. We rely so heavily on our vision for so much, from navigating our surroundings to connecting with others.
Right.
When that sense is compromised, it's bound to have a profound impact.
It really is. And that's why it's so important to acknowledge that emotional aspect
Right.
and address it, not just focusing on the practical solutions, but really providing emotional support and understanding.
So what can we do? What can people do to help someone who's struggling emotionally with vision loss?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's important to listen without judgment. Just let the person express their feelings, their fears, their frustrations. Don't try to minimize their experience.
Right.
Or offer platitudes.
Yeah, just being there for them.
Yes.
Offering that listening ear can make a world of difference.
It really can. And beyond that, encourage them to seek professional help if they need it. Therapy can be a safe space to process those emotions,
Right.
to develop some coping strategies. Support groups, again, can be incredibly helpful connecting people with others who truly understand what they're going through.
It's all about creating that support system,
Yeah.
both personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, for those of you who are supporting a loved one with vision loss, just remember to be patient and understanding.
Yeah.
Their world has changed. They're adjusting to a new reality.
Right.
Simple things like offering a guiding arm or describing your surroundings can go a long way in making them feel more comfortable and confident.
It's about putting yourself in their shoes. Exactly. And realizing that those small gestures can make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I think that brings us kind of full circle to the overarching theme of this deep dive. Vision loss. It's a complex issue. It's multifaceted.
Right.
It has these far-reaching implications. And it's about understanding the physical changes, but also the emotional impact, the available resources, and the power of prevention.
And it's about spreading awareness, dispelling those myths, and ultimately fostering a society that's inclusive and supportive of people with vision loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is about, recognizing the whole person,
Absolutely.
not just the condition.
Right.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to make sure we hit those key takeaways.
Yeah. Good idea for our listeners.
Okay, so first and foremost, regular eye exams, they're essential for everyone, especially as we age or if we have any underlying health conditions like diabetes.
Yeah, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Right.
You got it. Early detection is key for so many of these conditions.
Yeah.
And, if you notice any changes in your vision, don't wait. Contact your doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No matter how small it might seem, always better to err on the side of caution.
I agree. And beyond those regular checkups, we've talked about a lot of those lifestyle factors that can impact eye health.
Yeah, eating a healthy diet.
Yes.
Getting regular exercise, avoiding smoking.
Right.
And protecting those peepers from the sun.
Absolutely. It's all about that holistic approach to your health.
Right.
What's good for your body is good for your eyes.
I like that. And if vision loss does occur, there's a wealth of resources and support systems available.
There are. Organizations like the American Foundation for the Blind.
Right.
Incredible services.
Yeah.
And connecting with others who have similar experiences.
Yeah.
It can be really empowering.
Yeah. You're not alone.
Exactly. There's always hope.
Right.
There are always ways to adapt.
And to thrive. All right. So to wrap things up, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you understand about vision loss, the better equipped you'll be to protect your own vision and to support those around you who may be affected by it. So we covered a lot of ground today, understanding the causes, coping mechanisms, preventative measures.
That's a lot.
We hope you found this deep dive informative and empowering.
Yeah. Remember, vision is a precious gift. Take care of your eyes,
Yeah.
and they'll continue to open up a world of possibilities for you.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Stay curious, stay informed.
And keep those eyes healthy.
Absolutely. We'll catch you next time.